Good morning show or the Active TV. Now, we say we are streaming live on Facebook as Active TV GH and on YouTube as Active TV GH. But before we move on to the main discussion this morning, a happy birthday to Sylvia Owusu. May God bless you and make you great for mom and dad. And now the big discussion. The big discussion for today. Today we're going to be talking about an app that translates Ghanaian language, and our guest for today is Dr. Paul Azunre. He is the founder and architect at Algorin Incorporation and Algorin Ghana Limited. And also he's a musician. And so before we end the interview, he will do some freestyle for us. Hello, Mr. Azunre, welcome to the Active Morning Show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
All right, and you are the founder and chief architect of at Algorin and Algorin Ghana Limited, and also your alma mater, Poku Owari. You captained the school to the National Science and Maths Quiz, and that's in 2002. And since then, you've been performing really well. Your performances are very profound. How has the journey been so far?
It's been long. It's been a long journey. So after Opokwari, I did, my first degree, master's, PhD, and then I went and got some experience in industry, in artificial intelligence and stuff. And now I'm trying to apply it for some problems that are relevant for my community. So it's been a long journey that I've been kind of just pursuing my interest and trying to find something I'm passionate about.
Okay, and what inspired you to venture into such thing? What inspired you?
Well, I've always been kind of good at math and engineering in general. I like playing with things and making new kind of things with my hands. And then I got a computer and I learned how to code, and that opened a new environment for me. And I've always been looking for, I guess, something that affects my people or something that affects my community.
Okay.
Like when you travel abroad to study, often it feels like the things you're working on are completely irrelevant to where you came from. Like, let's say something like quantum physics, right?
So before you go on, where do you come from? You're a Ghanaian, I must say.
Yeah.
Which part of the region are you coming from?
Upper East region, Bongo Soin is the village that my dad is from, so it's around Bolga.
Oh, okay.
Upper East. My mother is Russian, so
okay.
My dad studied in Russia for his PhD,
okay.
and so that's where they met, right?
Okay, so. And now let's talk about the Algorin. Why did you decide to venture into Algorin Incorporation, Algorin Ghana Limited? Tell us all about it.
Okay, so Algorin is my startup that I started after my PhD work.
Okay.
My PhD was mostly about solar energy. I was looking for ways to make solar panels more efficient. And so after I finished my PhD, I was trying to, I looked at academia and I felt it wasn't a place for me. I didn't feel passionate about it. I wanted to do entrepreneurship. So I took the solar energy innovation and I tried to turn it into a company. That didn't go so well just because of how capital intensive the problem is. A lot of money is needed to buy big machines and stuff. And I've always been more inclined towards software engineering because there's less investment needed to start something. So at some point I changed the path from solar energy to this translation problem that we're talking about.
So why did you decide to establish a branch here in Ghana?
As I said, I was looking for ways to make my work relevant to Ghana, and obviously.
Or maybe because I'm Ghanaian?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I knew it had to have a branch here. So I'm looking for ways to apply this technology to our problems, and this is where the translation issue came out of. Because at the time we were doing this, there was no, like, say, Google Translate for Tree or Ewe or Dagbani or any of those languages, and that's needed to be solved.
So now the Ghana natural learning process is the key or the brain behind the KHAYA, which compete with Google. very competitive. Now, what pushed you to start the Ghana Natural Learning Process?
So Ghana Natural Language Processing,
Language
the group,
processing, yes.
Yeah, it's a group formed to make sure that Ghanaian languages are being studied with these new methods, new artificial intelligence methods. So as you know, everything that we do right now is on the internet.
Yes.
Everything is digital, it's on our phones, right? So our systems need to be able to understand how we speak. So for instance, we can talk to the Siri, right, so that they can understand, or turn on the lights or something. But nowadays, the computers don't understand our languages. They only understand English or maybe some famous languages, right? So this is important because in the future, everything is going to be digital.
Sure.
So if we don't convert our language, which, you know, language is tightly tied to culture, if we don't convert it into a digital form, essentially we will disappear, right? So you can think about it as a way of ensuring that our culture continues to persist in the new digital era. And also, of course, this means that we are going to be able to use the tools better. And, of course, there are opportunities for jobs and innovation and improvement in human life, right? Just healthcare, easier for people to go into communities, communicate with the people they're taking care of, know what their issues are, and those kind of things, yeah.
Okay, so now there are about 50 languages spoken in Ghana. And so how many languages have you been able to do?
So far, we handle 5 Ghanaian languages.
Okay.
So, Ewe, Ga, Twi, Dagbani.
Okay.
Actually, we've added Yoruba
Okay.
because it's a big language that people are
And I
asking
believe
for.
that there are plans underway to do other
Cover
languages.
the entire map. So right now, behind the scenes, we are working. I'm Frafra, right? So as I told you.
Yes, yes.
So and one of the main goals for me is to be able to talk to the people back home
Yeah.
who never learned English, and you know, I never learned my own language because I was in school in Kumasi and Opokuwari, right?
Yes.
So I didn't get to learn the language. But I want to be able to communicate, and I want to be able to learn the language. So these tools are going to enable to do that. So we are looking at Frafra, we are looking at the Gari, we are looking at Boli. Essentially, we will cover everything.
So you're hoping to cover almost all the
Yes.
language. Oh,
It takes a lot of resources.
resources, yes.
So for each language, we have to create data, translation data, and then we need people to look at, check everything, make sure the language is being used correctly because that's important. The spelling and everything is correct. So it takes a lot of effort to get this done. So we always ask people to be patient with us. The reason we might not have added your language is because there's very little data for it.
I'm expecting you to add my language
what
to it. I'm a Ghana.
Oh, okay. Guy
Yes.
is already in it,
Yeah,
actually.
okay, yes, yes.
It's not as good as the tree,
Yes, yes.
but we are working on it.
Working on
Yeah.
it. I had the opportunity to look at how it's being done. You know, you key in the English language, how you want it in the Ghanaian language, and you realize it's not kind of quite perfect. Yes, it's not quite perfect. And I believe you're working on that as well.
Yes. So the way the systems work is they're called an artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
But really, it's like machine learning, which means there's an input and there's an output to this model, and you have to show it a lot of examples of English and corresponding translations, let's say in Ghana.
Yes.
And so the more examples you show it, the better it becomes. So say Google Translate has seen millions of examples. At that point, it's perfect. We have only maybe exposed it to 50,000, just because there isn't as much. But if we were able to expose it to 1 million, it would be perfect, you understand? So, but with time, we are increasing the amount of data we are feeding it, and we are also improving the methods. So the methods from 2 years ago needed a lot more data to be perfect.
To be perfect.
The methods today are a lot less data hungry. So as things evolve, we are able to adjust and improve it.
Great. Now, what do the Ghana NLP and Algorithm has to offer to the Ghanaian youth, or the opportunities that it has to offer to the Ghanaian youth?
A lot of opportunities. So the most important thing we can do is a learning opportunity. So if you join our group, and it's open to everybody, what you're going to get is people are going to mentor you. So people like me, there are a lot of us with experience who are willing to kind of impart knowledge to the next generation. So kids come through, you know, they get put on a project, then we teach them some things about machine learning. They can use that experience.
One of the opportunities is machine learning.
Yes, machine learning, software engineering, right? Okay. Of course, once you have your model, you have to put it in software, in your app. That app, a software engineer writes it, right? Now, that's a skill that's extremely valuable, and a lot of people pay money for that, right? So you can come and we teach you how to do all those things. That's the opportunity. As well as the tools that we are building, they enable you to do a lot of things that you couldn't do before. So for instance, if you are a translator and you had to do everything manually before, now there's an app that enables you to be maybe 10 times more effective, which means you can get more job done, get paid more. And there are certain jobs that don't even, you know, become possible, right? So I would say a combination of opportunities to learn things, as well as the tools that we are building, actually using them in your own projects. So for instance, now you can build an app on top of the tools that we have built. You don't have to worry about the translation part. Now you can think about, how can I use it, right? Yeah.
Now, how has your experience been with the Ghana media? I'm asking this question based on a Facebook post you did on Facebook, that the Ghanaian media has ignored your work. So how has your experience been?
Yeah. So I guess what I was trying to get across in that post is that the attention given to, let's say, to the innovation locally, the local innovation isn't as much as, say, the attention given to foreign innovation. So I'll give an example. So we did, you know, say, treat Google Translate years ahead of Google. You know, it was out there.
Ahead of Google,
yeah,
wow.
Years ahead. Like Google just put out theirs. Yes. And we've been trying to get the public to understand what we have done, for people to start using the tool. And there has been a very nice, I don't want to discredit or insult all the people who have supported our work.
The Facebook post is on your screen, it's on your very screen, that is it. All right, so let's continue.
Yes. So, yeah, so it gets a bit frustrating because
a lot of people, your work is being ignored, or maybe you're not being given the needed attention.
Yes, because we feel that this is something extremely valuable for the Ghanaian community. We are volunteers, you know, like everything that we've done, we've invested our own resources to make this happen. However, sometimes when we approach, not always, sometimes when we approach media houses to talk about this work, they ask for money to talk about it, which is like, and I understand paying reasonable fees, yes, but there's also exorbitance. They ask for exorbitant amounts.
They're asking for too much.
A lot, like we're talking about, you know, thousands of dollars and stuff like that for, you know, volunteers who are trying to improve society to have to pay thousands of dollars for the media to talk about their work that's supposed to inspire the youth. It feels like counterproductive to what we're trying to do, right? Trying to build an environment where that kind of work should be encouraged, right? However, when a foreign giant comes, like Google, everybody talks about it.
Yes.
And nobody gets paid to do it, but they talk about it, right? So it seems we should be encouraging the local stuff instead. And I guess, or I should also say, a lot of people supported our work, so many thanks to them, despite all of that, yes, including you, right?
Yes, that's why we are having this conversation here on Active TV.
Yes.
So what exactly are you expecting the Ghanaian media to do?
I think Ghanaian media should focus on the youth who are doing exciting projects, exciting engineering projects, the kind of things that can inspire the next generation to, you know, move mountains, to change the economy. You know, this technology has the chance to change the economy. We all complain about lack of jobs, but this is an area, for example, where there are so many high-paying jobs, and people are looking for people with skills, and they're not finding them. It's not like there's a shortage of jobs. There are a lot of jobs in software engineering. There are not enough people with the skills. So encourage the kids to get those skills by rewarding them for doing this kind of stuff. You understand? If we put enough role models in the media, and you make it something interesting, like, for instance, we focus a lot more on musicians than, say, smart kids who build a drone that can deliver medicine to their community, right? Seems counterproductive. Yeah. Musicians should be focused on too, of course, but we should give more attention to technology and, you know, these kind of things really have a chance to transform our society, you know? And so we should encourage it.
I believe we are hoping that after this interview, the needed attention that you are looking for, you will get it. But has there been any change after the post, after your Facebook post? Have you seen any kind of change?
Yes, actually. Yes, there has been, yeah.
What are they?
I've had invitations to interviews. Okay. This is the first one, but I have several others lined up now. So perhaps a little tough love.
So you need more attention, as you're saying. Now, do you have any upcoming project that you have? Do you have any upcoming project?
Well, we have so many upcoming projects. So we plan to expand, as I told you earlier, we plan to expand across the Ghanaian map, and we also plan to expand across Africa. So we got the post you put up. We got a grant from Harvard. This was our first funding ever. Okay. So it was a big deal. Because they saw what we were doing and they thought it could scale to other parts of Africa. So they want us to try it in Kenya, for instance, in Senegal for Wolof. And so we'll be working with some very capable scientists to scale the technology to those areas. I'm hearing some news, it hasn't been confirmed, that there's another funding coming through for us, which will enable us to get the data in Ghana for these Ghanaian languages for which the data doesn't exist. So yeah, that's a big one. Also, very important, this app right now, you can talk to it in certain languages and it will be able to write down the text, right? So transcribe it.
Rather than you writing it
Rather than you writing it yourself, you can just be talking to it and it will turn it to text for you. Great. Now the next big part is turning the text into audio so that you can type something and then the machine can say it for you. So for instance, like a person who can't speak can communicate in the local language, right? Something like that. That's also coming up. We've built the prototype, now we have to put it for the public use. Yeah.
So now talking about funding, how are you able to fund, since you started, how has the funding been?
It's very tough. So that's actually the most important part and the hardest part. Because the volunteers, you can only take it so far. You know, people have jobs, people have responsibilities. They can only give so much time to something that doesn't pay for it. So in the future, we want to be able to pay everybody for the work they're doing, right, fairly. And then things happen more effectively, right? In the beginning, the funding literally came from the founders. So, for instance, we talked about Algorin. Algorin did some consulting work after the solar project for like DARPA, the research lab in the US. So we got some, let's say, $50,000 from that work. And that's something that we've been using for the past few years to like get some cloud computing and then, you know, pay for some of the other services we need to get this thing going. And now we have some funding grants coming through, beginning to trickle. Hopefully it becomes more. And really the big, in the end, we don't want to rely on that. So that's kind of begging for money, and then if they stop giving you money.
That, how are you able to fund this?
Yeah, so I believe this thing has to be self-sustaining. So if you go inside the app, you will see that you can get a subscription to the app for ad-free subscription, which means for like 10 CDs or something, you can get a subscription, or is it 100 CDs for a year, something like that.
Okay.
So like Kelewele every month. You know, and you get a free subscription, you get an ad-free subscription. Right now, the lack of ads is the only thing that separates that from the free version. But we want to add more features to make it more enticing for people.
Sure.
So we are thinking of, you can imagine like a virtual reality application where you put your phone in that thing that you put in your head.
Okay.
And then you look around and the app is able to label everything in your local language. Let's say table. You know, water, TV, right? And then you can click, and it's in this virtual reality. It can speak to you and tell you how to pronounce the word. So you can imagine learning a language just by wearing this thing, walking around and saying, oh, what is this? And what's that? And what is that, right? So something like that will only be available to premium users. So you pay a small fee, and hopefully enough people will pay the small fee and support the work, and then it can just pay for itself. Yeah.
And now talking about this, the opportunities given to the youth, have you gotten any Ghanaian people on board that you are training or are training to impact the same?
Hundreds of them, yeah.
Wow.
So right now, the membership is around 140 in the group. We are open to everybody, so if you see this talk, go to GhanaNLP.org. There's a link. You can send us an email and we'll join you. You get all the information and get put on projects and stuff. So, of course, not everybody is as active as other people. So the active group is maybe 30, 40 people. And I think we've helped some of them get like PhD positions in universities, funded positions, both through the experience and just like talking to people we know. Like I know people, so I forward opportunities to them and stuff like that. And we continue doing that. And I hope it helps them get jobs, they tell me, the experience. Yes. So we hope to keep doing that.
So how has the training been so far? How is it going so far?
Oh, it's going great. I think Ghanaian kids have the potential for great things. I think it's just a little change in how you train them. So a little bit less of the, giving instructions and, I guess remembering things, and a bit more on certain scenario, just figure out how to deal with this situation, and then giving that practical experience. And once they do it a little bit, take off.
Take off, yeah. Sure. Now you are passionate about music. You do music as well. Do you have a stage name? You have a stage name?
Dr. Pushkin.
Dr. Pushkin.
Yes,
wow.
That's my stage name.
So how many songs have you been able to release so far?
Oh, yeah, you can go on any streaming platform and see.
Dr. Pushkin.
I'm putting out an album now. We put out an album some years ago. Put out a lot of singles, so it has to be 20 to 30 now. But so, now I try to release every couple months.
Okay, so why Dr. Pushkin? Why that name?
So I told you my mother is Russian, right?
Yes.
And so you may not know this, but the greatest Russian poet that the Russians call their greatest poet, called Pushkin, he was partly African.
Okay.
So there's some history about how he ended up in Russia, which didn't have slavery at the time. So he left the West, which had slavery of black people. He ended up in Russia, which didn't have slavery. So in that society, he was able to rise and become actually the ancestor of Pushkin. He was able to rise and become like a general, and his descendant was Pushkin. So as part Russian, part Ghanaian person, when I was growing up in Russia, I was very good at the poetry. And of course, when the Russian teachers saw that, they all said, oh, Pushkin, right? Because part African, right? So, Pushkin again, right? So that was kind of like a joke that I turned into my name. Yeah.
So do you intend doing music actively or just something you are doing as a hobby?
Well, I just do it. People like to draw that line. I don't draw that line. I just do it. I find that sometimes I need to write music just to get whatever is in me out. And so I just do it. And I kept doing it, and eventually it became high quality. And eventually people started supporting it. And I put out music and people listen to it. So that's good enough for me. What do you call that?
That's this one that is, you titled it Do. D-O-U-G-H.
Okay.
As in, I don't know whether you're talking about money. What inspired you to write that song?
Oh, no, that was a feature.
That was a feature.
That was a feature. For an artist asked me to feature on his song. And he was saying this year he needs his own money. He needs to stop borrowing money. So that was a cool concept we turned into the idea that you have to get paid for your work. You understand? A lot of the time, even whether it's entrepreneurship or it is in music, people expect you to work for free. Like they tell you, oh, do this thing for exposure, or like play this concert for exposure, right? And they are getting a lot of money for the people coming to the venue, right? So we were saying, pay the artists, the artists need to be paid for their work. They're also valuable, and this is a career for them, so pay them. That was the idea, yeah.
So how would you describe your music? How would you describe it?
You do a lot of the stuff I do is socially conscious rap. So I would say it's just poetry about the things I see in society that I think not enough people are talking about.
Yeah. So what people are not talking about, that's what you use, you write in your music, and that's the words in your song. That's
what I try to do. I mean, sometimes, of course, we do more, I guess, commercial sounds that more people can relate to, because you can't always be challenging people and making them depressed, right? You
are you expecting any nomination from VGME and
I don't care about that stuff. I don't care about that stuff. It's like, Nobel Prize or Grammys or all that stuff is like some system they've built to reward.
It shows you're working hard,
I mean, it can, but I don't think that there should be a goal for anybody. It's like awards. You don't start a company so that you can win awards, right? It's something that comes later.
Yes.
But really, you're pursuing a mission, right? So that's how I like to think about it.
Are you helping to feature Stone Boy, the gurus in the music industry? Are you to feature any of them?
I mean, I would love to feature. I've featured Budukusu before, Kwata Budukusu.
Okay.
That's a high-profile artist. I've featured Need You, the song is called. I've also featured Surebia, who is probably the most famous rapper from Upper East, 3 Music Award winner. So I'm always open to, talking to more artists, but it's not like I'm a huge artist. Yes. I don't think Stoneboy knows who I am. So, but Stoneboy, if you're listening,
he'll get to know. He'll get to know. So any upcoming music project?
Yeah, so we're actually shooting a music video for Lies, a song I did. And I'm putting out my album Outlandish now. So, I mean, the singles are coming. We have several in the pipeline, so you can expect.
Okay, so we have the song here. Let's take a listen to it.
Everyone faking it easy. Everyone sugar for the cheesecake. Fake lifestyles getting easy. Are you gonna listen to the Are you gonna let it slide and then lie you? Say your dreams don't go fit to come true. Conditions, no matter the conditions. Don't go fit to spoil my chance. I go have the last dance. Even if you go the distance, you can never tame ambitions. Are you gonna listen to the
girl, they be lying to you. Yeah, believe me, boy, they be two-facing you. Yeah, believe me, sister, they be two-timing you. Yeah, believe me, brother, they be misleading you. Yeah, nothing they say will ever be true. Yeah, they don't wanna see your dreams come true. No, believe me, found nothing wrong with you. Yeah, these leeches just want to profit of you. Yeah, and one day then they say one thing. The other day the goalposts move EPL. And if you dare question them about it, my brother might as well go to hell. Yeah. So I live my life by decree that I'ma call it out wherever I see that is bastards they be lying to you. That is hypocrites be lying to me. Yeah, the social media they be lying to you. Yeah, the politicians they be lying to you. Yeah, in church they be two-facing you. Yeah, in school they be two-timing you. Yeah, on the TV they be lying to you. Yeah, on the radio they be misleading you. Yeah, in the magazine they lying to you. Yeah, on Facebook they be lying to you. Yeah, on the Twitter they be lying to you. Yeah, on the TikTok Pinocchio you. Yeah, on the Thriller Pinocchio you. Yeah, on Instagram, they be lying to you. Yeah, believe me, king, they be lying to you. Yeah, believe me, fun, they be lying to you.
Believe me now, they like you. Believe me now, they like you. Believe me now, they like you. Yeah. Believe me now, they like you. Believe me now, they like you. Believe me now, they like you. Like you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Believe me now, they like. Believe me now, they like. Believe me now, they like.
I've been lying to. Why the song? What made you to write the song?
So I think compared to when I was a kid, I feel like modern society is a lot more superficial. You know, because we have all these information sources, whether it's social media, you know,